Good evening, everyone, and happy Monday. This is new for me. I'm used to being with you on Tuesday mornings at 11. And this week I am switching over to evenings where I'll be with you on Monday evenings at 7 and Thursday evenings at 6. Welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas, and I'm excited to be here with you today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy you found me. I hope you'll enjoy what you see and return and come back. And if you are with me live or catching me on the replay, thank you so much for your support and helping me grow my channel. I have lots to show you, and I have a few things to tell you before we get started. I just wanted to remind you, in case you did know or you don't know, is that Stampin' Up! Seasonal sale starts tomorrow, and it runs through the 16th, which is Thursday, and you get 10% off on ribbons and trim, 15% off on inks, and that includes pads, re-inkers, markers, and blends, and 20% off on all paper, your cardstock, your DSP, and the specialty papers. So if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to be able to earn your business and help you with your crafting needs. So let's switch this down and let's get started. We're going to make a quick and easy card today using the Forever Forest bundle. Okay, hopefully you can see and hear me well. We are going to be using traditional colors today. I'm going to be using Cherry Cobbler, Shaded Spruce, and Basic White for a really quick and easy card. Now, I love this stamp set, and I want to bring it in to show you. This is a cling stamp set, and we are going to be using this large stamp with these 3 trees. We're going to be using a part of this smaller stamp that has 5 trees. And then my greetings I'm using from the Brightest Glow stamp set. This is the one that returned from last year. And we're going to be using these for our stamping. Now, this does come with a beautiful set of dies. And I just love this. You have snow mounds, large ones and small. You have detailed evergreen trees. And then you have the dies that cut those trees that you stamp. So a really fun bundle to use. So let's get started. And I'm going to bring in a piece of Cherry Cobbler. Now, don't worry about writing measurements down. I have the corresponding blog post ready to go with a downloadable PDF where you'll see measurements, instructions, and supplies, and that'll post about 15 minutes after the video ends. So just sit back and relax. So we have a 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2, and I'm going to go ahead and fold into the hill. And we're just going to burnish this with our bone folder. And I just want to make sure I have nice, even edges here. Okay, I love Cherry Cobbler. It's one of my very favorite colors. It's such a bright and bold color. Now, I wanted to add a layer to this, so I chose Basic White. And I decided to emboss it with our new Snowflake Sky embossing folder. And I know this is hard for you to see, especially with the glare. But I went ahead and embossed it, and it's just so pretty. You have the heavy snow up at the top, and then as it filters down, you can see more detailed snowflakes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this to the front of my card base. Now I'm going to use green glue or multi-purpose glue. I really like using glue, especially on my embossed layers, because you have so many like divots from the embossing that glue kind of gets down in there, and it really helps for it to stick. So we're gonna, oh, yeah, that's right. I want the heavier snowfall up at the top. And that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to stamp our trees. Now for our trees, I took a piece of 4¼ by 5¼ of basic white. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. We're going to stamp our trees up here at the top. And then we're going to use this die to cut our mounds of snow. Now you're going to see in the PDF, I recommend cutting your mounds of snow and then stamp your stamp so that you know what you have to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and because I know what I have to work with, I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Let's cut that. Since that's what I'm telling you to do, let's do what I tell you to. All right, so I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine, and we're just going to run this through. Now, this is the die, and I do want the bigger mounds. So I'm going to lay this right on my edge here. And we're going to go ahead and run this through. Now, if you're new to using the cut and emboss machine, you're going to use plate number 1 and both of plate number 3. So let's go ahead and do this and run this through. You're going to hear that little crack. And this is what we're going to use for the front of our card. And you can see it's going to fit right in here. So perfect fit for our snow mounds. Let me hold that up for you. Okay, so for the rest of that layer, good evening, Ramona. Thank you for joining me. So here's what I have left. So I'm going to use this to stamp. Now, a little trick about this stamp. It shows variations in color. Some areas on the stamp are dark and others are going to be lighter. So when you use it for the first time, you think you're not inking it up properly and that you're not getting a good stamped image. Well, you are. It's just that it shows variation in color for your stamped images. So I'm going to use shaded spruce, and I'm going to ink this up really well. Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining me. I like to turn my ink pads over and ink that way. It allows me to see the coverage that I get on my stamps. I also don't press as hard as if I were pressing down on the stamp pad, so I'm a little less likely to get some ink around the edges. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go here and we are going to go right in here, and I'm just going to give a good press and hold it down for a minute because I want that ink to absorb into the paper. Isn't that pretty? Look at our trees and see the variation that I talked about in the color. It's not that you don't have good coverage. That is the way the detail of the stamp is supposed to stamp. All right, so we're going to use that and we're going to go ahead and cut that out. Now, there is a die for that. It's this large die, and we're just going to go ahead and put this in here. Now, I do use a piece of washi tape, or actually, I use the Post-it note tape because I find it holds well and it doesn't pull off my paper or my color. You use whatever you're most comfortable using and what you're used to using. So I'm just going to stick a piece here along the edges. And I'm going to bring my cut and emboss machine back in. And again, we're going to run this through. So let's go ahead and do this. And then that is the last of our die cuts for this card. This is such a fun stamp set. And I think it's always important to remember that this is a stamp set you can use for other things than Christmas. It's great for the holidays, great for masculine cards, but you can use it for winter cards of whatever sort that you need. So here's our die cut. And I'm going to go ahead and I want to place this, just kind of eyeball it to see where my snow is going to fall, because I don't want my trunks of the trees to be sticking up outside the snow. So that looks pretty good. Now I am going to pop this up with some dimensionals, and I'm going to go ahead and bring those in here. Now I'm just going to use my large ones. Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining all the way from Canada. Although you're really not that far from me. I'm in Ohio, but thank you for joining. So I cut my dimensionals in half. They seem to go a little further, and I do tend to be, I use a lot, but I guess I'm also kind of frugal by cutting them in half, but I do find that they go further for me. Fingers are sticky from the glue. I'm just going to pop a couple on here. I hope you all had a great weekend. You were able to have some fun either with crafting or family and friends. I actually was able to participate in the Stampin' Up on stage. And it was virtual this year. Last year I went to Indianapolis and saw the new stamp sets coming out here in January 1st. And the new catalog will be out starting in December. So I have ordered some. I'll be excited to share them with you when they come, and give you some sneak peeks at all that. Now, if you see the little trunks here, I go ahead and I just cut a thin piece. And I'm just going to cut into here and just cut 2 thin pieces that I can pull the backs off of, just to kind of hold those. That is going to get covered up with our snow bundle or snow mounds. So I'm just going to put one in here. Let's put one here. And I'm going to put this bigger one in the middle here. Oh, Ramona, you'll love seeing the new catalog. There's such great stamp sets. Hi, Dixie. Thank you for joining. So let's go back. And again, before I put this down, just kind of eyeball it to make sure these are going to be covered. And I'm going to boost it over just a little bit. So let's go here. And it helps if I take the backs off, doesn't it? So let's do that. I was so busy talking, I didn't even realize I didn't take the backs off these. But there are beautiful, beautiful stamps and papers coming out, and I'm as excited for you to see them as I am. But I should get mine in this week or next, and we'll be able to do some sneak peeks with those. So let's go with this. That looks good, and I'm just going to go ahead and pop that down. Now I'm going to use my snow mounds, and for this one, I'm going to lay this right across the bottom here. So I'm going to put dimensionals on each side and at the bottom right here, but not towards the top, because these are going to actually lay on the trees, which are already raised up with dimensionals. So that's just a little tip if you're new to using dimensionals. I'm going to switch over to the minis here. And again, just on the ends here, and then along the bottom. Let's take these off and bring this down a little bit for you to see. So I'm just going to line it up with my basic white embossed layer so that the edges are even. And there's our snow. Now, in order to hold this down, I'm just going to take a glue dot and I'm just going to pick it up with my take your pick tool. And I'm just going to pop it under there where I know it's going to hit and attach to something. So there's that. Now let's go on to our greeting. Now for our greeting, I just cut out a little square. This is from the Essential Shapes dies, the rectangle. And I chose a greeting that says, "'Tis the season." Now this is from the Brightest Glow stamp set that returned from last year. And we're going to stamp this with Cherry Cobbler. And I am going to grab my Cherry Cobbler because it's behind me. So let's do that. And we're just going to go ahead and stamp this. Oh, that came out kind of crooked. I'll redo that a little bit later, but just so you know, that's going to go right in here. Now I'm going to leave that there for a minute because we're going to go ahead and go to the inside. Now my inside, I did cut a little bit smaller. I cut it 3 3/4 by 5 because I like that Cherry Cobbler and I wanted a little bit more of an edge around it. Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining me. So this is another sentiment from Brightest Glow. It says, "Hoping your Christmas shines bright with the love of family and friends." Now I'm giving you examples and showing you, but use what you have. If you have stamp sets with greetings you like, use them so that you can pick from what you have. That's one of the great things, is being able to use what you have and be able to carry that through. Here's our greeting. Now I want to bring the Christmas trees to the inside of my card. So to do that, I'm going to bring in, this is the stamp from with the small trees, and I have a small block here. I want to be able to stamp just these 2 trees and stamp off to the lower edge. So in order to do that, I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to put those 2 trees on the block because that's going to help me, I think, with inking it. So let's do that. And I'm going to bring my shaded spruce back in. And let's move this out of the way because I tend to wear a lot of greens on my hands. And I'm just going to ink this up. And I really don't care if this isn't real dark. And then I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to stamp on the bottom and off so that I just have a little bit of the tree with me. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere this to the inside of the card. Now, the nice thing about those trees is you could, another option would be to stamp along the whole bottom of the card, but that doesn't give me very much room to write, so I decided to just do a partial stamp for that. So here's our card. Now, let's pretend the greeting's on since I didn't do it straight and I'll have to redo it. And what we're going to do is to embellish, I'm going to use the festive adhesive back pearls and I'm going to use the silver. So let me go ahead, and when putting these on, I just kind of eyeballed it and tried to put them maybe where some of the snowflakes were that were on the card. Okay, so barring my crooked sentiment, here's what our Christmas card looks like. And I'm going to bring in one that the sentiment is attached and straight so you can see it. So here's our Forever Forest stamp set. Really versatile and easy to do. So let me bring you back to me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really enjoyed doing it with you and having you here with me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up. It helps me grow my channel, and feel free to share the video. I hope you have a great evening, and I will be back with you on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. Have a great night, everybody. See you soon.